Ms. Paul, thanks so much for taking some time for us. The Green Party is yet to release a full platform for this election, but reconciliation with Indigenous peoples was at the top of the 2019 party platform. Does that remain a major component for you in the party this time around, and what does reconciliation look like for you?
First, yes, and thank you very much for having me. And absolutely, we can't build a future if we are not willing to do the work to reconcile ourselves with the legacy that continues to cause so much harm. And certainly, given who I am and the history of my own people and the Black diaspora, I feel that very strongly, and I know how important it is to do that work, and the entire Green Party knows how important it is to do that work. And so absolutely, we are very committed to it. We have a brand new reconciliation and Indigenous affairs critic, Adina Young, who is a member of the Haida Nation and lives out on the traditional territories of her peoples out in British Columbia. And so you can expect to see that from us. Reconciliation means to me whatever it means to the Indigenous peoples of this country. I'm here to be guided by their leadership and to offer myself as an ally and our platform of our party in any way that would help.
Addressing the climate emergency is always being at the core of the Green Party, and we're experiencing a devastating summer of fires across large parts of this country. What action is the Green Party pushing for?
Well, the first action that I would have pushed for is not to call this election in the first place. I think that people who are evacuated from their homes, or people who are choking under smoke, or people who are under evacuation alerts have a very hard time concentrating on things like elections and on the issues. And I think that everyone in a democracy, as much as possible, should be given the opportunity to get to know the parties and their positions before having to vote. So this is really unfortunate timing if we care about people making informed votes. We know that the way to avoid even more extreme fire events in the future is by doing all that we can to limit global warming. Some of it is locked in, and that's very painful to know, but some of it isn't. And so if we don't want more frequent forest fires, we've got to make sure that we mitigate global warming by reducing greenhouse gas emissions. And then we also need to adapt. We need to take the knowledge of Indigenous peoples in their own territories and the best scientific knowledge, and also make sure that we're doing all we can to limit the impact of forest fires when they happen as well.
Your party currently has 11 Indigenous candidates nominated for this election. What is your pitch to Indigenous people who are thinking of voting this time around?
To vote, because it makes a difference. We have seen a lot of talk with very little action for many, many years. We have seen parties, both elected and not elected, make commitments and then contradict them immediately. There is no question that there has been work that has been done, but it's not sort of a buffet. You don't decide that you're going to respect self-determination and sovereignty in this situation and then completely ignore it in another. And we see that, for instance, when it comes to the Mi'kmaq fishers out on the East Coast and their struggle to just earn a moderate living through exercising their treaty rights. We see it with the Coastal Gas Link and the NDP allowing sovereign territories to be invaded for that pipeline project. So you have to do the work all the time. And that's really what the Green Party is proposing. And so every Green that's elected makes a big difference in terms of having an ally for the issues that matter most.
The Green Party's had much publicized infighting or issues in recent months here, but how confident are you that the Greens can increase the number of seats in the House of Commons this time around?
Well, one thing I know is that it certainly won't be for a lack of trying, whatever the result is. We're all working very, very hard across the country. We have exceptional Green candidates running all over the country, powered by volunteers and members, and they're going to be doing everything that they can and have already started to make sure that they're presenting a strong Green option to the people in their communities. So the part that we can control is what we do and how hard we work between now and September 20th to earn the privilege of representing our communities. And then ultimately it will be up to the voters. And I hope that they will take a look at the records of parties who have had power and ask themselves, did we get the change that we expected? And if they feel like no or maybe not, then that they'll choose to vote for an alternative and send some new voices to Ottawa with the hopes of getting a new result.
Ms. Paul, we'll have to leave it there, but appreciate you taking some time for us here today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.